Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becca and I'm so excited you're with me today because today is my moment to show you my progress of getting my life together, getting my houseplant collection organized and set up so that this year will go very smooth. I can track things. And this video is also sponsored by Notion, who I'm really excited to introduce you to. So thank you very much to them. If you're not familiar with Notion, Notion is an easy to use platform to actually commit to achieving your goals this year, staying on track with what you want to do, manifesting, making your lists. And it's really nice because it's all in one place. There are so many different features on Notion that I'm going to show you through what I'm doing. There's calendars, there's lists, there's vision boards. It's really awesome. If you have anyone in your household who you want to add on to your Notion, or maybe a coworker or people who work for you, whatever it may be, it's really easy to add them into your Notion so that you can all see real-time updates on what's going on all of your boards. And something that I really like about Notion is how easily customizable everything is. So I'll show you. I did actually go through and find a template for my full houseplant list, and then I edited the template down to be more of what I would want. And then every other page, I think that I built completely on my own. So while it is kind of more on the simple side for me because I just need something simple to look at, lots of people have gone pretty wild with adding photos and like so many different elements onto their pages. But for me, that's not so much something that I can handle, like all of those things on one page. So if you like a simple, streamlined organization system, you're probably gonna like mine. If you wanna start planning your year with Notion, you can get started for free by using my link in the description box below. And I'm gonna show you my Notion. Okay, so as you can see over here, we have a little menu where I have all of my different sections for my Notion. So I have a plant section, a home section, a goals section, and a making section. So we start on my home page for plants. What I really like is how you can organize pages within pages so that you don't have a ton on the screen at once. I don't know if there's anybody else out there who gets really overwhelmed when there's like 100 things to look at. So I like folders and that's basically what these pages are. It's like a folder system. It's all like collapsing into each other. So the number one thing that I knew that I wanted to do this year was have a full houseplant list, like kind of like an inventory of my houseplants. And I found this template by going on to, you can see here it says templates, and then I searched template and I just typed in plants. And then I actually was able to go onto Notion's website and see other templates that people have shared with other people. And so I found a template that had a pretty, like this was before I kind of understood how exactly to use Notion. So I wasn't exactly sure how to set up a table. So it kind of actually helped me just to learn how Notion works by looking at what somebody else had already made and then morphing it into something of my own. And then from there, I've been able to create sort of my own pages. But if you want to just go off of what other people have done, which is totally fair, you can integrate someone else's template into your personal Notion. So for this, I really wanted to be able to see my plants based on the genus. I wanted to know the names of the plants. So I have a genus and a name column, and I have like a bunch of different genuses. It's actually wild to see how many different genuses I have in my collection. And I have even more than this because for all of the cactus, I just put them under cactus. Like I didn't do the very specific genuses within cactus. There's so many genuses within cactus in my home, but I just wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So I just said cactus. And so when I was making this list, I'll show you what it looks like to create a new one. So let's say example plant. So when it came, so that's the name. So that would be like the Deliciosa of Monstera Deliciosa. So we're going to come in here, and since I've already pre-typed in all of these, I just select Monstera and I don't have to type it in. I don't have to like do anything wild. Although I will say it did take some time because I do have quite a few plants. This is actually a great way to keep an accurate plant count as well. So I have 114 plants, which is less than I thought. I mean, again, I'm surprising myself, but I did just go shopping for some plants for my wall. So I have more now that I need to input. But yeah, it's a really simple system that I have here. The next category that I thought was super important was places where I acquired the plants. So I just have like a simple list of some options: gifted, trade, online nursery purchase, local nursery, big box store, independent seller, like if I bought it from someone on Instagram or someone on Facebook, and then propagated by me. And then I also organized it by what plants are in each room. So I can see how many plants I have in my plant room. It's like, I think 40 to 50 in here, which is actually insane. It makes a lot of sense why anytime I have to water in here, it's terrible because that's a lot of plants to water at once. I would really like to go through and do like additional information into these. Like if I say I got it from a local nursery, I want to come over here and I want to maybe say like what local nursery. So I'll say Helmies. There's lots of ways that you could do this. You could also add just like a more specific place acquired. Like I could just say Helmies, Vintage Hill, Home Depot, Lowe's, to be like way, way more specific. But yeah, so this is a really great way to not only keep track of the amount of plants you have, but how much you paid for them. So I have a cost area, which I haven't filled out yet because I am probably gonna have a harder time remembering this. So I might do like around how much I paid for it. And I think this will be interesting in the long term to see how plant prices fluctuate. So also I have the date acquired section so I can see on what date how much I paid for it. And I wish that I started this like at the very, very beginning of my plant collection, because then I can see like how prices have changed over the years. I just think it would be a really interesting plant price trend thing. Like you have like evidence of like how much you paid for things. I don't know. I just think that stuff is really interesting to see how cost like shifts throughout the years, especially regarding plants. I think that because we're so hyper fixated on plants, we have noticed that the market has shifted so much. If you want to do this, I think that I might be able to like somehow link this template. So if you want to try this out, but again, I did use somebody else's template to kind of get to this point, and I highly edited it. So you can edit your template however you want, with whatever categories make the most sense to you. The original list I was going off of was more of like a care list, but this would be helpful. Like if I was watching someone's house, I know plants, so I could go, okay, so they have a begonia lucerna in the plant room. Let's find it. Okay, they notated here that it's going to need water once a week while they're gone. So I feel like that would be kind of helpful if you have like somebody else on your Notion, like a family member or a friend or something like that. Like I mentioned earlier, you can add other people in here to view your boards. Okay, so my next list is my houseplant care to do. And this one is fun because, well, this was another board that I kind of copied off of somebody else because I was learning how to do all this Notion stuff. And my other to-do lists look a little bit different, but I thought this one was interesting because you can like drag these, and I find that that's kind of satisfying. Like, you know, the feeling of like crossing something off your list, like you just drag it and it's done. I have on here all the things that I need to do, and I actually do this a lot to like keep a very specific list of things that I need to do because I make plant chores videos. And if I'm sitting around and I'm thinking like, well, I don't feel like I have a ton to do in the collection, I will actually start making a list, and then suddenly I have a list of 8 things to do. So it's pretty interesting how the chores can stack up. But if there's ever a time where I think that I don't have any plant chores, I just refer to my to-do list because there's not, like, I'm not always going to want to do my plant chores all on the same day. So maybe today I'll water the greenhouse cabinet and my office plants, but then after that I'm like done. But I can move those 2 over into done. And then I know that I still need to organize my pots, go through, get rid of extra plant supplies, repot my splendid cutting, etc. So I kind of know what still needs to be done and what I have done already. I feel like this would be helpful if you are working with other people so that it's not like disappearing when it's done. It just kind of gets moved over to done. And as I showed with the plant list, you can actually click on all of these and then have like comments and notes. So I showed in a previous video that I'm shopping for a new pot for my Monstera Deliciosa upstairs. So instead of having those tabs open on my phone, I actually just transferred the links into my Notion because I don't need to have 30 tabs open on my phone. I don't know if anybody else does that, but this is your sign that instead of using all of the tabs on your phone to bookmark things, just put it in your Notion so that you can have an easy place to access things. Okay, then I have a greenhouse to do, which this one is set up a little bit more like a traditional to-do list. And you'll notice that some of my pages have a photo, and it's just, I don't know, this was to remind me of what's out there, because I feel like a lot of the time with my greenhouse, I can be very out of sight, out of mind. And I don't know, just seeing the photo and also just knowing that this list is in my Notion. I've looked at my Notion multiple times a day since I set it up. So just seeing the greenhouse to do, I'm like, oh, I have things to do out there. Let's get going. So yeah, I have my whole list of things that I need to do. And I find it really helpful just to brain dump in a to-do list, because I am a person who thinks I can remember everything in my head. And then it turns out I'm actually really, really bad at that. So it's much better for me to just write as much stuff down. Like, I don't know when I'm going to get to priming and painting the north wall interior, like over here, this section. I have no idea when I'm going to get to that, but I want it on the list so that I know that it needs to get done, and I can eventually check that off the list. And when you check something off, it crosses it out, which is satisfying. I have my garden prep for 2023, which I love this page because I added like a bunch of different elements. I oftentimes see people have a bunch of different things in their Notion boards. And as I said earlier, sometimes that can be overwhelming, but I set mine up as a rolling page. So if I only want to look at the prep, like what I need to do as a to-do list, I'm only looking at the top here. And then if I want to start looking at my seed starting schedule, I can look down a little bit further. But this is an element that I really wanted to show you. I accidentally just added in something. So these aren't the exact dates of when I'm starting seeds, but this is a really helpful visual for me to see like a timeline. So this is the timeline view. As you can see, there's like a lot of different options for blocks that you can put into your Notion. So there's just text if you just want to have like a block of text. There's tables. There's like little cute things you can put, like quotes and things like that. And then you can add photos, which you can see down here. I have my garden layout as a photo. Files is really helpful. You can upload a file. I have that in my like brand partnership page, which I'm not going to show because like that stuff's confidential for now. But this timeline view is really awesome because let's say you're starting broccoli, like you have all your different seeds that you want to start, which I'll probably have a list of all of the seeds I'm going to start. But this helps me have like the date set so that I can even have like, I think maybe I can even set a reminder. Yeah, it'll remind you. So like the day of the event, day before, week before, 2 days before, it'll tell you, go start your broccoli. I'm really excited to use this element because I'm probably just going to look through all of my seed packs and do the calculations, because you know how it says like 2 weeks before the last frost. So I'm probably going to go through, look at my farmer's almanac, but I usually just go off of the Mother's Day thing. Like I don't really put anything out before Mother's Day. So probably going to, unless it's a cold crop, but yeah, I'm probably going to just look at based off of Mother's Day and then project it backwards and then put that into here so that it can send me notifications so that it'll remind me to start seeds on certain days. I don't know. I just feel like this is going to be a really helpful tool for me personally, being a beginner gardener and not really being very good at having that internal clock of when things need to happen. This is an outline of my vegetable garden, and I just put color behind all of the boxes so that I could make a key. And so with this, I did the gallery view. And so I have the different colors for what I'm going to plant in each of these boxes. And what's really nice is when I'm out at the garden, I'm not going to have my laptop with me, but I have Notion on my phone, so I can easily access this literally on my phone. Like you just saw how quickly I pulled that up. I didn't even have the Notion app open when I opened my phone. Like it just streamlines everything, which I love. I love systems that do that. And then the last thing in my plant section is my shopping list. And this is one that I just recently made because I'm not like doing a wish list this year necessarily, but there are some plants that I would like to try out again. And so I would just put them here. If I'm ever out, I can just pull up my phone and say, oh yeah, what plants was I looking for? What did I have an actual plan to buy? And what do I think I could successfully grow in my home? So I'm not just like going to the store and being like, ooh, this looks good, this looks good, because that's really easy to do. I'm going to quickly go through all the other parts of my Notion, but the plants is what I really wanted to show you, like how you can apply this to your plant collection. And maybe some of you will find the home section more applicable, so I'm still gonna go through that really quick. My home life is extremely disorganized. I have never been organization girly. I have never been that girl, never. And I am only realizing in the last couple of months that my life is extremely chaotic and I'm always forgetting things. I'm forgetting appointments. In an attempt to get my life together and be a little bit less scatterbrained, I have a home section. So my cleaning schedule, which I really, really love. So I have daily, weekly, and monthly cleaning schedules. And this doesn't necessarily mean that these things happen every single day, but this is the goal, right? These are the things that I want to get done every day to maintain a clean home, because I am not a dirty person, but I'm definitely not a tidy person, let's say. And then monthly, see, this is the stuff that's more of like the deep cleaning things. So one of the things is check the air conditioner filter. I never, ever, ever did this in my college home. And I'm just positive that that thing was disgusting. Like, I think maybe we changed it once a year. Maybe. Like, our landlord dropped some off and we were like, oh, what are these? We eventually figured it out. Anyway, home maintenance to do. This is sort of how I look at my greenhouse list, because there's always something to fix when you own a house. Like, there's literally always going to be something. Maybe you want to upgrade something, or maybe something breaks. It happens all the time. So none of this is necessarily like things that need to be fixed, because we usually get onto those things pretty quickly. But this is just things that we need to do to make the home better. So organizing the garage, and finding a blanket storage solution. The blanket storage solution has been the bane of my existence, because you want to have extra blankets, especially when you live in a cold place and you host people a lot. We have a lot of guests, like, all the time. So you want blankets and extra pillows because they need somewhere to sleep. But then you're like, where do I put these 5 extra pillows? If you have any ideas on that, please let me know. I'm actually really curious what you guys do for like blanket storage, because we have like extra comforters for like, an air mattress that we bring out. What do you do with these things? This one is really fun. It's my media center. This is my place to notate all of the books that I've read this year, and also the books that I have in progress. As you can see, I have a really bad habit of starting more than one book at a time. It's just something that I do, and I do eventually get through all of them. It does take me some time, because I'll like prioritize them at different points. Like, if I get bored with one, I'll prioritize a different one. This was a template that I used from, I think it was just a default template in Notion. And so they already had inputted like all of these different things, but I added fantasy and fiction and historical romance, because that's typically what I read. Then movies and TV. This one's kind of new, and I don't know how well I'm going to keep up with it, because I watch a lot of movies and TV because I enjoy them a lot. Daniel and I love watching movies together. And then I also notated where I watched it, so that I think this will be interesting to see which service I use the most, because then I can say, well, I'm not really using Netflix that much. Like, do we need it? I don't know, especially with recent events. Goals and manifestations. I don't know how much of this, I'll just show you. I do have some very specific goals and manifestations for the year. Personal goals are much more soft, a little bit more non-specific. I like to keep things light as far as personal goals, and then really like have those hard number goals for my professional career and things like that. Okay, so the making one I said wasn't as built out, but I do have, I think, 2 things in here. And with this page, I really want to add like photos and things like that. I feel like that would be an appropriate place to have photos and like fabric swatch photos, so that I have more visual. I feel like the sewing section is much more visual for me. The making section in general is much more of a visual thing, but I haven't built that out as much as I have like the plants in the home section. That is my Notion, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing sort of my life at a bird's eye view. This was really fun to talk through and just chat about, and share with you guys my goals for the year, how I'm organizing my life. I hope that if there's anybody else out there who also struggles to keep your life organized and have systems in place, I hope that this helps, because I need systems. I need structure. And when you work from home or when you work for yourself or just being an adult in general, life gives you a lot less structure naturally, and you kind of have to make the structure yourself. And I think that has been one of the biggest learning curves for me just in life, is figuring out where I can add structure and where it's okay to be a little bit more loose. Thank you so much to Notion for sponsoring this video. And if you want to try out Notion for free, you can click the link in my description box below. I'm gonna see if I can share the houseplant list template in any way, and maybe I'll have that linked in the description box too. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.